Okay, so now we're going to get into the logistics of how to register. So the first thing you need to know is a little bit about how the academic year is structured at UBC. So what you see here is a visualization of the year, and you'll see that there's two main sessions that we run, winter session and summer session. And so, even winter session is divided into two terms, but we're going to register for the full winter session this summer in June. So when you are doing your registration for first year, you're going to register and make your plans between September and April. And then if you're thinking about taking a few summer classes, know that there'll be another registration period coming up in March. And that's where we're going to register for our summer courses for summer term 1, summer term 2. Those courses, you'll notice, move twice as fast. So they're condensed, they're accelerated. And so few more things to note. Registration times are coming up June 21st to June 23rd. And so by now you should have received an email from Enrollment Services letting you know it's time to go into your Student Service Center and look up your specific registration time. And so to clarify, that is going to be the earliest time that you can register. There's no risk that you would maybe miss that appointment and not get to register. It's really just registration opens for you at your registration time. That said, of course, we recommend that you, as much as possible, register as early as possible at or shortly after your registration time, because that will give you the best chance of getting your first choice of standard timetable, your first choice of first year English communications course, and your first choice of humanities elective. Yeah, and the purpose of these registration times really are that if everyone registered all at the same time, the system would crash, it would explode. So rather, we want to stagger registration by giving students specific appointments. So what can you do now to prepare? Well, making work lists. So what you can do now is you can sort of save possible timetables onto your work list so that you have your plan A schedule, your plan B schedule, your plan C schedule, and they are all ready to go when your registration time opens. At that point, you don't need to be sort of searching around in SSC to find stuff. Rather, you have your plan ready to go. And then at your registration time, you just go ahead and click register. And boom, you're done. And so you can think about it a little bit like the feeling of a shopping cart with online shopping. You've pulled all the things into your cart, it's your registration time, you check out, kind of. At least that's a good analogy for what you're doing with the SSC and making work lists. And so we do recommend that you prepare yourself with 3 to 5 work lists. And the important thing here is that the work list should include different STTs. It's not useful to have 5 work lists with the same STT, because if it fills up, you have no plan B. So you want different STTs, different electives, different sections of Words 150B or your English course, so that if plan A, your first work list, is full at your registration time, you load up your work list B, and then you go ahead and register. Yeah, and so what should go in the work list? Well, there's really 3 things, and we'll break down each of the components one by one. It should be a first year Bachelor of Applied Science standard timetable, or STT. Then you need a first year English communications course. Our preference is Words 150B. Then you need to choose a 3-credit humanities or social science elective course. And it is a degree requirement, but what's elective about it is you get to select what specific course you take. So we'll get into the kind of nitty-gritty of each now. So STT means a standard timetable. So you may have noticed by now that engineering students take a rather heavy course load in year 1. It's heavier than most programs, 37 credits of first year engineering courses. And so The logistics of making a timetable with no conflicts, where everything makes sense, it's a little bit of work and it's a challenging timetable to put together. So we've taken care of it for you. So that means that the standard timetable will include the majority of the first year engineering courses that you need to take, and it's already scheduled out without conflicts. And the goal here is to make it easier for you to just kind of register with just one click. Now, I wanted to show you what courses are included in the standard timetable. And of course, we're looking here at the regular direct entry high school standard timetable. So this is what will be in the timetable for all students who are entering directly from high school and have completed all of the necessary prerequisite courses that you would need in high school, meaning physics 12, pre-calculus 12, chemistry 12. You'll be registering into this set of courses. And so looking this over, I think, what might be standing out to you already is that there's quite a lot of math and quite a lot of physics. And so the first year, it really will focus on building you a strong foundation in the principles of math and physics, so that in future years, you will be applying those concepts to solving real world problems through the engineering design process. And so really first year, it's a lot of theory, a lot of math, physics, building the foundation, and then applying it in upper levels. Although you do have a few engineering specific courses in year one. So AppSci 100 and AppSci 101 tend to be pretty fun courses. You're going to be working a lot in groups on hands-on projects that include building. So maybe building a claw, a chair out of cardboard. Those are some of the kind of famous projects coming up. We also will give you an introduction in those courses to what is engineering as a profession, what is the engineering design process, and also we're going to give you an overview of the 14 specializations that we offer at UBC to help you choose the specialized engineering program that you want to start in year two. You also have one computer programming course in C language. So we do recommend, if you have any capacity over the summer, to practice programming or coding a little bit in any language. I mean, C ideally, but any language, any prior experience will help you prepare for AppSci 160. And then there's also a chemistry course with, an overview of the important concepts from year one chemistry. So all those courses are part of the STT. So for those ones, you don't have to do any scheduling. It's already done for you. You just choose an STT. And here's a little animation that shows you how to find the STTs in SSC, in the Student Service Center. I don't want to over acronym you, but how to find the standard timetables in the Student Service Center. So you're just clicking on Browse, Standard Timetables, BASC, that's Bachelor of Applied Science, that's our engineering degree. And then you choose the year one timetable that's relevant to you. And so you'll notice there's more than one type. So we'll give you an overview of some of the common ones now. Again, the majority of you who are in the most typical situation, entering directly from high school with physics 12 completed, chemistry 12 completed, for you, you're going to be registering for one of our many HS STTs. And these are all the same, it's only the timing that's different. And so if you hover your mouse over the STT, you'll see a visualization of the schedule to help you compare. A few other ones that you may notice, some of you may have been admitted to the pre-biomedical engineering timetable. And that is a slight variation on the standard year one STT. It includes more chemistry and a few biomedical engineering specific first year courses. And so this is designed for students who are intending to enter biomedical engineering at year two. And so, again, you would have been invited to apply and have to be admitted to that pathway in order to register for any of the PBME STTs. So you would know, I guess, if that's the one for you. A few other ones that are worth noting. If you wanted to challenge yourself with honors level math, you're looking for the HZ STT. If you are a varsity athlete, and that means you're a member of a varsity team representing UBC at the varsity level, then you can email me, actually, Catherine, to request registration into a timetable, HVSTT. It should, to some extent work around your practice schedule or common practice schedules for varsity. Also, Say you've been admitted with a physics deficiency, well, then you should choose the HP STT, and that one will get you, through all the first year physics you need to do in year one, but it will include a summer course to get you just kind of, through the high school level physics and then all of the first year physics all within 1 year. If you have any doubt about which one you need, please come and speak to us. Yeah, and then you've also maybe noticed some of these AR sections. So I did want to address that as well. So let's say, for example, all of the first round of timetables that we set up fills up really quickly. Well, then our plan is to ask you to register into an AR STT. And so these are kind of like a holding placeholder STT. So it means that you've registered, you've done what you need to do on your end, and we'll take it from there. And as the summer progresses, we'll move you into the sections that you need. The only difference between being in an AR STT and a regular STT is that if you end up in an AR, not to worry, it just means that you might not know all the details of your schedule until later in the summer, while we make our plans in the background. Again, I can't say enough. If you're in this transitory STT, like there's one that matches up with all of the common STT types. So you definitely want to get yourself in the right one for you, to make sure to help us basically make the right plan and get you in the right STT that you need. Can't say this enough time. So if you're in the AR STT, please do not panic. It's not to say that the program is too full and there's no seat for you or something like that. We really carefully enrollment manage this program. We don't admit too many people. And so we know we have a seat for everyone who has been offered a seat in the first year engineering program. It's just a question of us figuring out what seats you're going to be in which sections. Yeah, so you're going to get into your courses. It just could take some time to know the full schedule. Okay, so we've talked about STTs, and now let's talk about the other courses that you need to add to your work lists. So to recap again, the other two courses that you need to add on top of your STT are a first-year communications course and then a 3-credit humanities or social sciences elective. So for the communications course, our recommendation is to take Words 150B, because this is a first-year English communications course that focuses really on academic writing. So really, the skills you need to read academic papers and write academic papers, to know where the thesis statement should go, how the bibliography should be written, and just how to write the university level academic paper. And so important to note is that different sections have different topics. And so what you'll want to do is get yourself onto the journalism website, and then you can review the topics before adding them to your work list. Now, I understand with so many scheduling concerns, the timing may just determine which section you register for, but it's good to know what the topic will be, and maybe if you have a choice, you can make a good choice. And some of the topics are really quite interesting. Like I saw one the other day that was humor in scientific writing. That's something I would take. I find it fun. So yeah, get on there and check out what are the topics and choose one that, if you can, that you'll perform well in because you're interested in the topic. And so if you feel pretty confident about, writing an academic essay, how it should be structured, etc., then you may want to use your first year English communications course to take an English literature course, which is another option you have. Instead of Words 150B, you could take English 110 or English 111, and those more often will be focused on reading English literature and responding in writing. So that might be a course on plays or on poetry or on graphic novels. Those also are going to be themed. So you'll want to go on the English department's website to find the theme that is most interesting to you. But either one is fine. It is important, I want to say, to complete the first year English communications course before you finish year one, because it will be a prerequisite for your year 2 technical communications course, which is part of every program's year 2 standard timetable. And it's going to focus a bit more on sort of the engineering specific writing that you might do in your discipline. But it requires the first year course as a prerequisite. So you need to take it before you're allowed to take the year 2 course. Next, let's deep dive a bit on humanities and social sciences electives. So again, this may be the only first year course that is open to you to choose. And so within some parameters, I'll put the guidelines up actually on the screen. So almost any course in the Faculty of Arts is perfect for this elective, with some exceptions. So it should not be a statistics course or any kind of scientific lab-based course, no medical terminology, and no studio art classes, meaning like you can't be drawing or painting or acting or singing. Like you need to be more, there should be a critical thinking component to what you're doing in the class. But it can be anything within humanities, which is more sort of study of human culture, or social sciences, studying society and its changes. We often get asked for advice on what humanities elective to choose, and it does very much depend on your interests and strengths. We often recommend choosing a 100 level course because those are the introductory level courses where no prior experience or exposure to the content is required to succeed. And many 300 or 400 level courses won't have prerequisites. So technically you can register in, and if you find a course you really want to take, absolutely, you're welcome to do it. But just FYI, sometimes at the 300 and 400 level, instructors sort of assume that the student has some university experience, maybe a couple of years of experience, and so they may assign a heavier writing load and a heavier reading load. And you will be busy in first year, so keep that in mind. You're welcome to choose a language course, but it can be 3 credits maximum. So over the course of your degree, like in an upper level, you're going to take a second 3-credit humanities elective for a total of 6 credits of humanities electives for the entire Bachelor of Applied Science. And of the 6, 3 credits can be a language, but not 6. Hopefully that makes sense. Other than that, like my last hot tip on this is that there can be some opportunities to use humanities and social sciences electives sort of double duty towards your degree requirements and then also towards a minor if you choose to add a minor onto your degree. And so one popular option, for example, is minor in commerce, which is possible to do with not very many extra courses, actually, if you plan carefully. So if you're thinking about adding minor in commerce, you want to choose Econ 101 and Econ 102 as your humanities electives, micro and macroeconomics. Or if you're thinking about a minor in something like psychology, then you'll want to choose 2 introductory level psychology courses. And so this is a whole other topic we could do a workshop on, but I would say if I've piqued your curiosity, what you could do is head over to the Engineering Academic Services website and then find our minors and dual degree website it's under Navigate Your Degree on the top bar menu. Find minors and dual degrees, and then you can start kind of going through, and we've really done a great job on there of mapping out which courses can overlap with a minor. So check it out. Yeah, also on our website, this is more on our course planning page, you can find, and on our registration page, you can find a link to our humanities and social sciences database. And so what that is it's any course that has a previous engineering student has requested and we've approved for use as a humanities or social sciences elective. Now, if you find a course that meets the guidelines, but isn't on the humanities database, like that's to say it's not on there with a no, but it's not on there, then you can just contact us and request it. But this will give you at least a really good long list to start with of, if you have no idea what you want to do, you can see what some other students have done in the past. And really the goal of that requirement is to introduce breadth into the degree. So that's to say, we want you to have a well-rounded education that includes not just technical skills, but also, some critical thinking skills, some context in human culture and society. So we wanted to show you a really practical strategy for how to find an elective that works for your schedule. So I'm going to demonstrate that next. And so first of all, we've kind of showed you already on the previous animation how to find standard timetables. So now we want to show you how to use the search courses tool. So you'll see that the animation is showing you how to click on search and then click on courses. And so let's do an example. Let's say you're in a standard timetable similar to the one on the screen, where you have a pretty nice gap in your schedule on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays between 10 to 1. So you want to find an elective with seats available that fits in that time slot. So that's where the course search tool can be really handy. So what you'd want to do is start filling it out with, so here in the course number, I would suggest using 1 asterisk. And so what 1 asterisk is asterisk is a wildcard. So it'll give you any number that follows the 1. So any course that is a 100 level course will be sort of summoned. Weird vocabulary, but you get it. That will trigger the search to find any course that starts with 100. And then you want to make sure you've selected has seats available so that you don't find a wonderful course that's full and breaks your heart. And then you can sort of check off the times you're available: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's even possible to put time parameters in. We've selected 10 to noon to give a break. And then you hit search. And so then that should give you a list of courses with seats available at the 100 level. And then from there, you're scanning through to make sure it's an arts course, to see if there's unrestricted seats that are available to you, to see if you meet the prerequisites. So a little more legwork after that, but this will give you at least a really great list to start with. Okay, and then a few more tips that we want to give you for work lists. So yeah, so when I say seat restrictions, what do I mean? Well, some courses you'll find in SSC, and this is actually very common of engineering courses, will have an STT tag or a restricted tag, meaning that it's not possible to register directly. The remedy for that, generally speaking, is to register for a waitlist section. And then from there, a department will review the waitlist, the list of all the students interested in taking the course. And then sometimes in an order of priority, they'll move students into the section. So it could be, they'll prioritize students already admitted to the degree over students that are prospective transfer students hoping to transfer in. That's an example. And so, we do have kind of a good FAQ on our website, our registration FAQ, that troubleshoots a lot of common, registration errors, such as, getting a seat restriction error, something like that. So if that happens to you, I would suggest heading straight for that FAQ and starting there to troubleshoot what the issue is. Almost every time that I'm troubleshooting an issue, I find out what the problem was by reading SSC. It's very robust with information, looking at the seat restrictions, looking at the section notes. Usually that resolves it. Another really good tip to know is that when you're planning your schedule, you may be wondering, can I plan back-to-back courses? And the answer is sometimes. So UBC's campus is very big, and there's occasionally really pretty far away distances between buildings. So definitely take out your Google Maps, the walking guy, to estimate the distance between buildings. But it's good to know that courses will always let out about 10 minutes early, 10 minutes to the hour, to give students time to get to their next class. So let's say, your schedule looks like your class ends at 3, you'll be released at 2:50. So you have time to walk to the next class. But I cannot promise that every course and every building is 10 minutes from each other. So check it out on Google Maps. And then a few more tips. Oh yeah, and this is actually very important. I'm glad this came up. So you're registering as early as possible at your registration time, but you should know that your registration that you do on that day is not final, not at all. So you have until basically the add drop deadline for your course to kind of make a final decision about whether you want to keep it on your schedule or not. And so what we mean by the add drop deadline, generally speaking, about 2 weeks into classes during the winter session, you'll see a date, and it will always be indicated in SSC for each class. In SSC, it's called the last day to withdraw without a W. So for term 1, it's going to be September 19th. For term 2, it's going to be January 20th. And so up until that day, you can make as many changes as you want to your schedule. You can add, you can drop, and you are not going to be charged any tuition fees. Or if you're paid, you get a refund on any course that you drop before the last day to drop with a W, aka at drop deadline. You also won't see the course on your transcript if you drop it before the last day to drop without a W. And so, how this affects you a few different ways. So you can do, a first try at registration at your registration time. And then later on, you can come to our office and make sure that everything's right. And if there's anything that you need to remove, you can safely remove it from your schedule without being, worried that you'll see it on your transcript or that you'll be charged tuition for a course that you don't want. Maybe some of you have questions about, I think I'm going to get an advanced credit for a course, but I haven't seen it on my student record yet. Well, not to panic. You don't need that settled before your registration time. In fact, you probably won't be actually issued the advanced credit until later in the summer, and that's okay. What I would suggest for anyone who has, thinks they may need a non-standard kind of first year schedule and is really worried they need to talk to someone before registering, don't worry at all. Just go in there, give your best guess at what you need to register for, knowing that later on you can drop from your schedule anytime before the add drop deadline without really any stakes at all. In fact, to build on that advice, I would say, when in doubt, register and save your seat, because you can always drop later. It's easier to register for a course and drop later than it is to decide you need another course later and try to get back in. Especially this year, I will say that, we have seats for everyone, but it's going to be tight. The program will be very full this year. So when in doubt, register for more courses than you think you might need with an intent to drop them before the add drop deadline on September 19th. And you'll see that gives us a pretty good runway from now. So we'll have a chance to connect and talk about any sort of doubts you have. Yeah. And then, we have said this a few times, but I just don't think I can say it enough times. Just register early, register as soon as your registration time opens up. Things are going to start filling up quickly, so make sure you have all your work lists ready to go with different STTs, different Words 150B sections, different humanities electives, so that if the first one, when you load it up, is full, go to the next one, go to the next one. You want to really set yourself up with more than one plan. Another common question that we wanted to kind of touch on is many students ask, okay, the first year curriculum is a little intimidating, 37 credits. Can I take any reduced course load? And the answer really varies student to student, depending on the goals, et cetera. But first thing I'll say is that by the end of year 1, you absolutely want to have all your first year requirements completed, because that will set you up for success in year 2. Basically, what you do in year 2 is going to build on the content that was covered in year 1. And so you want to make sure you're set up with a strong foundation in the first year engineering curriculum so that you can succeed in second year engineering. So some students here may be expecting advanced credit. And just to clarify what I mean by that, that means you've taken courses in high school that are AP, IB, British pattern education. We grant credits for many of these, and details are on the admissions website. And so you may not see your advanced credit appear on your student record until later in the summer. And so for that reason, we're going to host a completely separate workshop on that. So please save the date. It's coming up on August 23rd, and we'll address all of the common advanced credits we see and how they can be applied towards the first year engineering curriculum. So stay tuned for that. And once again, if this is you, definitely register for everything that you think you need for next year. And I would encourage you not to drop anything from your schedule until you've had a chance to attend this workshop and or talk to an advisor, and absolutely not until you see your transfer credit on your student record on the transfer credit screen. Yeah, and then beyond that, there can be some opportunities to take some of the first year courses in summer, such as Humanities elective. That one's pretty flexible, but for a more specific answer that's relevant to you specifically, please do come see us at Engineering Academic Services so we can discuss it one-on-one. And next, I know I'm going a bit long. I want to make sure that you know how to get registration support during the actual registration week between the 21st and 23rd, where things are going to be moving fast and you may need support during that time. And so I want to remind you that we do have quite a robust FAQ on our website. So let's say you are registering after office hours and a registration error comes up and you think, oh, who's going to help me with this? Well, start with looking at our FAQ on the website on the registration tab. That's the Engineering Academic Services website, because we've addressed a lot of common registration errors and how to remedy them there. So I would say that should be your first move. And then beyond that, our office will be hosting quick questions drop-ins over Zoom every weekday in the morning and in the afternoon during the heavy registration period. So that's already started. Even today, we're running 2 sessions in the morning and in the afternoon, and all throughout most of July. And so if you need urgent registration support, absolutely the fastest way to reach somebody is just come to drop-ins, and then you can talk to somebody face to face. And so, yeah, so what you'll do is just enter the Zoom room, you'll speak with our staff. We all have email addresses, but I can say personally, I have a huge backlog during registration period. I already do. And so you'll be waiting a few days to hear back from me. I can tell you that right now. And so if it's actually urgent, please don't rely on email, just head straight into quick questions drop-ins. And we'd be happy to help you there. Yeah, and then one more thing that I absolutely need you to know, a really important resource. So you should have received by email a link to our Welcome to Engineering 2022 handbook, which is a self-paced Canvas course. And so check through your email, maybe use those search terms, Welcome to Engineering 2022 or Canvas, find the link there. I think I will put the link in the chat as well, because I really want all of you to see it. And so what this is, it's a self-paced course on Canvas, which is a learning platform you'll be using in many of your courses. And it introduces you to what is the engineering program. It helps you connect kind of what are you going to be doing in first year and how does this connect to engineering as a profession. It introduces you to some of the people to know in the faculty, such as the dean and some of your instructors that you're going to have in first year with their tips for success. It also debriefs you on just the structure of the program, technology requirements. It tells you how you can prepare over the summer by taking a series, if you want, of free self-paced preparation courses available through UBC that can help you get refreshed on your physics, on your chemistry, on your math, and your English writing from high school, so that you enter the door really, as fresh as possible on the background. Another thing you can do over the summer, practice your coding. We mentioned that. All of this is covered in the course, as well as it kind of walks you through all of the resources available at UBC and tries to explain how and when they'll be relevant and useful to you. So great course, and you'll learn a lot about the program by, spending a little bit of time working through it. Okay, and that concludes my presentation. So we are going to move into the Q&A segment of this event. Yeah, a little short on time, but hopefully a lot of your questions have been answered in the chat. So some of you may need to, leave the room at this point, and that's fine. But before you go, just one more plug for a few more workshops we have coming up. So we've only addressed registration for high school students today, coming straight from high school into the engineering program. So if you're a student who transferred in either from Faculty of Science at UBC, from one of our engineering transfer certificate partners, or you independently transferred in from anywhere, we didn't really address registration for you today. And so I encourage you to come to our session on June 28th so we can discuss your specific information that you need to know in order to register. Also, again, if you're a student here who is expecting advanced credits, you'll learn more about how to apply them towards the first year engineering curriculum at our workshop on August 23rd. Well, thanks everyone for bringing such excellent questions today. I'm so excited to welcome you into the program and into the UBC engineering community. I guess our next chance to gather together will be Jumpstart. Hopefully you're all attending. There's excellent content delivered during that week, and you get a chance to get to know some of your instructors in a small environment, to meet some of your upperclassmen there, and to get really good preparation to start the year. After that, we'll see each other on Imagine Day, in the office, and of course, anytime you need us in our quick questions, drop in Zoom, or in our physical office, or during an advising appointment. So we look forward to connecting with you throughout the year. Thanks again for making time for this, and looking forward to next time.